My son, you're back? What happened?
I heard a voice, Mom.
Now, more than ever, Francisco knew how much he wanted to serve only the Lord. As he was thinking about this, he saw a poor church with no resources, and he had no doubt he needed to help it. He went to his father's workshop and carefully took all the various fabrics he thought would no longer be useful for sale in Assisi. So, with several fabrics, he went to another nearby city, and this started to draw the attention of people wherever he went. Overjoyed, he sold at cost price, trying to gather some money to help the poor little church.
Father, this money is for you to do everything you need for this church.
During this same period, Francisco increased his visits to the Valley of the Lepers. He brought everything they needed to ease their physical pain, but above all, the pain in their souls.
If we live as Jesus lived, our burden will become light and our yoke will become easy.
How did Jesus teach?
By the way he lived, responding to all adversity and all the wrongs done to him with goodness.
I brought this fabric for you, man. It's gonna be cold today.
God bless you.
Meanwhile, Clara attentively watched Francis's actions, feeling deeply moved and truly captivated by this remarkable way of living. Francis only saw and felt the good that needed to be done for each person. However, one day his father returned from a trip. Is it
True that my son Francis took several pieces of fabric and went out to sell them? Has he gone crazy? I'm gonna talk to the bishop. I want my money back. My son has really gone crazy. Now he actually hangs out with lepers and sells my things.
in the town square? Francis carefully gives all of the money back to his father.
Look, everyone, my son has gone crazy. And
even though that unforgettable scene shocked and surprised many people, anyone with eyes to truly see could easily recognize the unmistakable presence of the Lord in every single step Francis took. Now, he didn't even have a single stone to rest his head on. He became like a bird of the sky, trusting that God would provide for him each day. Meanwhile, Clare devoted all of her time, energy, and her very life to selflessly serving those who had absolutely nothing. Her deeply sensitive and compassionate heart reached out to women and mothers, always helping and supporting them in their needs. After being rejected by his father and left with no rights or family possessions whatsoever, Francis began to serve in a monastery as a humble kitchen helper, performing simple daily tasks. Even though he had already changed his way of living, Francis still felt that the experience in the monastery did not completely fulfill him. That was the moment when he remembered his brothers who were suffering with leprosy. They had absolutely no one, were despised by everyone around them, and needed everything. His heart lights up warmly. He understands that this would be his new home, the Valley of the Lepers.
I'm thirsty.
Francis begins to live among the lepers, helping and caring for them every day, but their needs were so many and so overwhelming. Inspired, he comes up with the idea to start working in order to earn resources, and with that, to help out with everything they needed.
Good morning, Mrs. Julia. If you do not mind, can I do something for you in exchange for some food?
You arrived at just the right time. I needed help with the task of fetching water.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Julia, for this bread.
Despite the help he received, many people were still outraged by his behavior, especially his decision to live among the lepers. Francisco's actions create a buzz in the city, and everyone talks about it in their own way.
Clara, everyone is saying that Francisco has gone crazy. He works in exchange for anything, and they say he's taken everything to the lepers. Hasn't. The way I see it, he was crazy when he went to war. Now it seems to me that he's following his heart more and more.
Winter arrives in Assisi, and Clara fondly remembers some of her siblings, who would certainly be feeling very cold at this particular time of year. Thinking carefully about their needs, she thoughtfully sews warm clothes to take to these siblings. She arrived at the place. Imagine her surprise to find Francisco there.
Francisco, it's so good to see you. What are you doing here?
I've been living here for a while now, Clara.
She hands over clothes and the blanket that warmed their bodies, but it was her heart that offered the greatest comfort these brothers and sisters received. Accompanied by her cousin, Clara talks with Francisco to understand why he is living that way. Her heart seemed to be more and more drawn to this beautiful and inspiring ideal, and she found herself wanting to know even more about it.
But Francisco, why are you living here?
Clara, since I was young, I've been trying to understand how to live my life following the teachings of Jesus. You must remember that he said he did not come to be served, but to serve. Well then, I reflected for a long time to understand what it meant to serve in the way Jesus lived, because the way Jesus lived is a living lesson for me. And I realized that every act of service he performed, in all its different forms and ways, was done with the feeling that the person he was serving was the most loved, the dearest to his heart. So I discovered that the essential part of serving is not the act itself, but the feeling behind it. In other words, it's not about what, but how are we doing this act of service?
Even more inspired by Francisco's words, she begins to help out with more chores at home, taking on a few extra tasks as well.
Your father's gonna fire me, Clara, if he finds out you're doing my job.
Cousin, calm down. Don't worry. I would never do anything that could harm you, even though my father made you do things for me. And as far as I'm concerned, I've never seen or felt anything for you other than as a beloved sister. Do you remember our last meeting with Francisco? Cousin, I never wanted to be served, you know that. And now I've been reflecting on how much I also want to live my life serving others. I still don't know how or in what way, but my heart truly wants to serve with that feeling Francisco told us about.
Seeking to better understand the Lord's will for her life and future path, Clara goes to church and prays sincerely.
Santo Pai, aonde devo ir? Me guia com carinho, seja a tua luz a me conduzir. Ajuda meu coração para entender sua vontade. Seguir seus passos com coragem e humildade. Santo Pai, aonde devo ir? Ilumina meu coração para eu te servir. Me ajuda a compreender a tua perfeita vontade em ti eu possa viver na sua humildade.